So today I wanted to talk about something that I haven't talked about publicly before, but my experience doing solo spicy content and why I believed, the different reasons why I believed that I would not have a negative experience and why I did. And the details of this experience are coming from someone who made, for my life, a shit ton of money doing it. So I'm not detailing a negative experience because I didn't make any and I wish that I didn't and stuff like that. So I started doing solo OF content whenever the pandemic hit, and I lost my job overnight, and I had this really expensive rent in LA, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So I did it because I had always been like risque online anyway. It kind of like went with my personality. And the number one thing that I thought starting off that ended up not being true, which I'm glad that I never did this, but for me, I always thought morally, for me, I don't care what anybody else says, I don't judge you, I don't, nothing. But for me, just in the same sense that I have never been able to like go have casual encounters without like getting in my head and feeling gross, I knew that I was never going to make content with another person, just because I knew that it would haunt me and make me feel bad, and just like the energy exchange of being with another person would like make me sick and haunt me at night. That's just me, that's just how I feel. Other people, I see them happily doing this, and that is fine. I'm not judging. I'm just detailing my experience. But I thought that, stupidly, I believed that there would be like mental safety in doing this if it was always only me. For some reason, I just thought like, oh, the only dark energy that I am going to get from doing this is if I'm out there creating content with another person and I feel gross after or whatever. So the next thing that I got wrong was I started when I was 29. I'm 33 now, and I believed that because my brain was fully developed, I always look at these girls that are like, if they're like 18 and starting, I'm like, oh dear God, please do not. And I thought that even whenever I had like a fully positive outlook on OF, I thought, dear God, you're so young. You have no idea who you're going to be in a year. At 29, I had no idea who I was going to be in a year. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that I got wrong, because I was like, I'm 29, I'm almost 30 years old. I'm going to be the same person and feel the same things because my brain is already fully developed. I was wrong. So another thing that I didn't think about that could be obvious to many but was not obvious to me. Once I started making money doing it, and this is my only job, and I started doing it for a couple years, blah, 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 the isolation involved in making that kind of content online for a living was profound. You're always by yourself in a room making content, and the subject matter it's not even like it's silly content or funny content. Being sexy in a room by yourself. And that was extremely detrimental for my brain. You're not ever having conversations with other people, with the exception of like sending a DM back and forth here and there, but that doesn't do anything for your serotonin levels in your brain. No interaction with other people. There's the seclusion even of not being able to tell like the average person, you're at a grocery store, oh, what do you do or whatever, having to kind of like hide it. I was never shameful about it. I've always been very honest with everybody about exactly what I was doing, but it's like you're living in a secret world, and you're never interacting with other people. And I think that that's very unhealthy. Another portion of this that wasn't good for my brain was the fact that your only sense of social currency is how you look and how good you can look and how sexy you can be at any given moment. So when you're isolated in this world, and that is the way that you're going to have your bills paid, it becomes like the most important thing to you. And it'll make you, as a person that struggled with the deepest depths of ED and all that kind of stuff, it may be very obvious. It's like, okay, well, obviously you felt that way. it wasn't blatantly obvious for me. I kind of thought that it would be a confidence booster, especially if I was, making quite a bit of skrill doing it. But it ended up like it made me hyper focus on, because I'm the one that's creating it, and I'm also the one that's having to like edit clips together and stuff like that. So I'm constantly looking at myself. It made me even more hyper analytical of my looks. And it made me sad, in a sense that, yeah, you're exchanging you're essentially your only value, at least monetary value, in your own workplace of your world, in your mind, is to be as sexy and as beautiful and stuff like that as you possibly can be. And that is dark. Another thing that happened that I didn't think about, and I will stand by the fact that, like, whatever, if you're a dude and you don't want a woman that's ever done anything like that, that's fine. Like, you're morally out, you're not attracted to a woman that's ever done that before. I get it, that's fine. I respect that. Cool, whatever. I do, and I have thought from the beginning, like, if I've made solo content online and you are so not into that you wouldn't date me because of the fact that I've done that, like, then that's fine. We're obviously not a good match, you know. I'm looking for somebody that's a little bit more laid back in that area. That's not a dig, it's just a personal, difference. However, something that I didn't think about was how unnatural it is for people that you haven't been with, or that like know you in real life that you haven't been with in like a sexual way, to see you in, because they're gonna find it, they're interested, they're men, are going to see you in a sexual light that they would have never naturally seen you in. So there is an animalistic thing, and some of them I am. I mean, some of them are extreme, and like, it's like you need to be able to control yourself and you're a terrible person. But then some of it's like, I understand the allure, and like the animalistic thing of, it's not like I'm like, don't look at my body, completely respect me fully whenever I've done this sexual thing, you know what I mean? But there are men in my life that I was friends with for 10 years that found my content and their eyes glazed over and they never treated me the same again. I've been lunged at, because they just, and that's to my defense. I mean, I have defended them in some way, but like, to my defense, like, control yourself, don't be a fucking monster, you know what I mean? But there are a lot of men, and men that you wouldn't have even thought before, I'm talking 10 years of friendship, that just seeing you in like such a sexual light online can like unleash the feral beast within them, and they can't control themselves, and it's ruined a couple of my friendships. I'm very wary of like male friendships anyway. Like, I think that a lot of times women are kind of naive in a sense. They're like, oh, he's just my bestie. But like, I'm talking about lunging on top of me and me having to fight them off because they saw my content and they couldn't get it out of their brains that I'm just an object at this point. And stupidly, I thought that, for whatever reason, I thought that like, because it was solo, that they wouldn't think that they could still see me as a person, but I was wrong. What else? Anyway, for anybody that was, interested or whatever, or maybe somebody that's young and thinking about doing it, I just wanted to kind of detail like some of the negatives, and maybe talk you out of doing it, because it's not worth it, in my opinion. I'm sure you've seen several stories that are like this. I still do have, a feed on OF where I essentially just post pictures. I've phased out of all of my content creation and stuff like that, and very soon I won't have any at all, but I've rejoined the workforce, and it's been fucking amazing and silly, and I have coworkers where I laugh and we fuck with each other, and you know what I mean? Like, it is so, I'm relearning to love, hard work and meeting people and being social and not just being alone and sexy in my room. And it's the best.